60 days ago, I decided to hire my first life and performance coach, and it has been absolutely a sensational experience. I wanted to take the next 10 minutes to tell anyone who is curious about hiring a coach or maybe bring on some external person who can see outside of your own head and look at you from a third party perspective, what the benefits of doing that have been for me. And I've taken a couple minutes to recap that into five major takeaways and five major lessons from my experience working with my first coach. Okay. First of all, how did this happen? So I've hosted a podcast for about 3 years. I've interviewed 150 people. And one of the top five most consistent themes that I've heard from almost every single guest is that their life, their business, their relationships, all of that transformed tremendously for the positive after they decided to get help, after they decided to hire a coach, hire a therapist, have some person responsible for helping them be better. And surprise, surprise, time and time again, it led to them finding unexpected ways to perform a lot better. So after years of hearing that advice, I finally met someone, coincidentally, through the podcast, who I felt like I want to emulate this person in a lot of ways. I want their energy, I want their presence, and also, of course, they had a lot of impressive results in terms of their life and their business and their relationships that I was inspired by and that I wanted to implement into what I'm doing. So that's how this came about. Now, let's start with the takeaways. The first one is the importance of controlling your state of being. So I think we've all realized time and time again that if you ever had a hangover or if you don't sleep and you have poor energy, you have a bad mindset. You feel everything is suddenly more difficult. You're tired. You don't feel like doing anything. Things that are typically easy for you, doesn't really matter what, but things that are typically easy for you suddenly are almost impossible. Versus on days when you sleep really well and you have a lot of energy and you feel good and you feel happy, no matter what is on your plate, you feel like you can tackle anything. So as much as possible, the takeaway is to design my life and to construct my days and to consciously make decisions such that I feel good almost all of the time or as much of the time is within my control to feel good. So that's called controlling your state of mind, controlling your state of being. So if you notice that you're in a bad mood, if you notice that you're things that should be easy for you are starting to seem difficult, that's a time to pause and become aware and think, okay, I'm not going to be effective in the state of mind. I'm not going to get good work done. How do I fix this? And there's usually a couple ways that, coaches recommend, that I recommend, that I've found effective when I've noticed this in myself. Some of those are going outside, taking a walk, playing a game, doing something like an active game, not like, I don't know, Candy Crush. What is this? 2012. Anyway, like playing ping pong, swinging a golf club, shooting a basketball, something active and completely unrelated, for a couple of minutes, taking a shower, hot or cold, having a cold glass of water. Some unhealthy ways to sometimes do this are like drinking more caffeine, and that only works like once, and then you all of a sudden have a caffeine addiction. So finding like healthy ways to change your state, maybe like watching a motivational video, putting on hype music, changing from sitting to standing, going to work at a new location, switching to a different part of your house, maybe putting on shoes, maybe if you're dressed in your pajamas, like putting on actual clothes, maybe going to a co-working space. So maybe going for a phone call with someone who always puts you in a good mood. So changing your mood first into a state of empowerment and into a state of high energy, and then expecting the work after that state change has taken place to become a little bit easier. So that's takeaway number one. Takeaway number two, I have a little cheat sheet over to my right, your left. I don't know if it's going to mirror or not. Okay. Takeaway number two is the power of the simplicity of daily non-negotiables. So I don't know if you're familiar with 75 Hard. 75 Hard, if you're not familiar, is a fitness program where you basically have 6 non-negotiable things that you have to do every single day. And upon completing them successfully, you basically check off the day as a win. And if you don't get any of them done, you take an L for the day. You write the day off as a loss and you start over on day 0. That's really, really powerful for a couple of reasons. One, it sets a bar in your head for what success looks like. Because even no matter what you do, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a student, you have a job, it's kind of ambiguous where it's like, what is enough to get done today? Because there's always more that you could be doing. You could be working ahead on tomorrow's work. You could have sent more texts, organized your house, done an extra chores, got whatever. You could always be doing more. So when you have a couple of non-negotiables and you set a crystal clear bar for, okay, I've decided that this is enough to get done today. And if this gets done, the day's a victory. If anything less gets done, I kind of like screwed up, got distracted, didn't do my full potential. But if these get done, it's a good day. And everything else that gets done, if I decide to do anything in addition to these things, are bonus. So I worked with my coach to come up with a couple of daily non-negotiable items for me. So a couple hours of deep work on the business, specifically 2 hours of deep work minimum on the business, hitting at least minimum 15 minutes of exercise. Let's see. Why am I forgetting these? I do these every single day and I've done them. I think it's just I've checked off the box for today. Oh, I do 2 meditations, a 15-minute visualization meditation and a 10-minute regular meditation. I go and make a conversation with a stranger so I don't sit in my room all day and not make friends and not have social skills, which is very easy to do when you work from home and easy to forget how to do those things. A wake up at the same time, 5 a.m., and I don't snooze. And that's pretty much it. So as long as I hit those boxes every single day, and then I send a daily update to my coach because, we're working together, letting him know the progress that I'm making. As long as I do those 6 things every single day, I consider the day a good day. And that's great. Oftentimes I do much, much more. Some days maybe I'm sick. Just checking those boxes, I still feel like I'm getting a lot done. So it's nice to have that clear threshold for what is a good day and what is a day where you genuinely did not put in the effort. Okay, number 3. The power of visualization. So it's super, super woo-woo is kind of how most people see visualization until they actually start meeting people. And I actually have spent a couple years away from the school system. I'm cool calling it the school system in air quotes. I'm not cool calling it the education system in air quotes because the priority of the school system is often not education. And the more you learn about learning, the more you realize that school in a traditional sense is more often than not a place where the primary goal is learning. That's a conversation for another day. Anyway, a lot of people leave kind of a traditional schooling environment having negative opinions about visualization. But I can tell you from my experience, whether or not it actually leads to changing things in like a whatever quantum dimension or any sort of like less scientifically sound explanation, it produces a lot of changes within you and within your state of mind that change the probabilities of you achieving your goals. So when you start to think about yourself experiencing a hypothetical goal, it can make you more motivated to do it. It can put you in a good state of mind after the visualization where the rest of their day, you're going to be attacking your work more like a champion than feeling defeated. That alone is a concrete benefit. Whether or not it actually is magnetizing the outcomes to you, it's changing the actions that you take. And hopefully we can at least agree that taking better actions oftentimes improves the probability of your goals being realized. Also, the more you think about it, the more you feel worthy of those goals, and the more you have a crystal clear picture of what those look like, and you start to fill in the gaps for what you want the future to look like. And that's super, super helpful for not only making you feel worthy of the goal, because if you don't feel worthy of the goal, right, you'll oftentimes sabotage things that start to happen to you because you don't feel like you're worthy of those things happening to you yet. So that's a really big obstacle a lot of people run into that you will start to be less prone to the more you do this. And also, if there's specific things holding you back from your goals, you don't always have to visualize the future. You can also visualize the past. So maybe something that you feel as if is holding you back is your confidence. You get on sales calls and you fumble, or you get into an important meeting and you don't speak confidently, or you go on a date and you're not confident on that date. Remembering specific experiences in the past where you actually handled those situations incredibly well, where you crushed a presentation, or where you did such a great job on a date and had an amazing time, those experiences will help you rebuild the confidence, because sometimes you have this humongous win, but it's so far in the past that you've forgotten that about yourself. So when you use visualization to bring those memories back to the present day, you can bring that confidence or those other desired emotions back to the present day. Funny that I said present, because the fourth takeaway is the importance of presence. So this interesting thing happened with me with my coach. His name is Vash. I don't know if I revealed that at this until a video now. It'll be in the links below how I met Vash. He was a podcast guest. It was maybe like 7 videos ago based on the chronology of when I'm publishing this. And about 40 to 50 days working with him, I'd written out my vision. I was thinking about it every day. I was taking the right actions every day. And I was starting to feel like it was inevitable. I'm like, I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to have this amazing relationship. All of this is going to happen at some point in the future because I'm like the type of person it's going to happen. I feel great about that. All right, what now? So I'm kind of just thinking, I'm like, all right, it's coming, but like, obviously it's not coming in the next 10 minutes. So like, what do I do? And so I was finding myself getting a little anxious and finding myself thinking a lot about the future when really all I can do is just like do what I need to do to make those things happen or to improve, as I said earlier, the probabilities of those things happening. So focusing on the work in front of me, looking at my to-do list for today and doing the things that I need to do and making the progress on the business and chipping away at the important milestones that could have that 100x impact on our sales and get us 100 times more customers, or allow us to charge more for each customer because we're delivering so much more value because I've learned some new skill and capability that's going to help them get better results. So the point is not getting caught up in things other than what I'm doing right now. Like right now, I'm only thinking about recording this video for you, I'm not thinking about those other things because I'm present in this. That's why people talk about how much they love certain activities like rock climbing or like martial arts, because they force you to actually become present. Because if you don't become present, there's consequences, right? You fall off the mountain or someone chokes you out. And when you're just sitting by yourself, though, just reading a book or at your desk, there's not really like an immediate painful consequence of getting distracted. So we very rarely develop that awareness. And so keeping that awareness of like, and having that kind of like self dialogue, that's okay. All I need to worry about right now is this. Like, I don't need to worry about where I'm going to live after my lease expires. I can sit down for an hour this weekend and have that conversation then and list out those pros and cons. It's like, I'm not going to solve that problem while trying to answer this email about this other thing. It's just a distraction. So working on staying present, doing the thing that you're doing when you're at dinner, focusing on being at dinner, when you're at home visiting family, focusing on being at home and visiting your family, and when you're at work, focusing on, of course, being at work and doing the work tasks. That is takeaway number 4. Okay, and number 5 is understanding the power of beliefs. And all of this kind of ties together. So for example, if you procrastinate on a project, you have to ask yourself, like, why is that? And more often than not, the answer is that there's some underlying belief that the work is about to be difficult or that the task you're about to complete is going to be unpleasant. If you don't like going to the gym, it's because you have some underlying belief that links going to the gym with something unpleasant. I'm going to look stupid. I'm not as strong as everybody. It's not fun. And then you're not going to want to do it. But if you can rewrite those beliefs. So for example, if like going to a bar is something you don't think is fun because, you know, it's too loud and like you usually don't meet people, or like going by yourself, that's something that I had a belief around before this program. Then one night I was like, you know, I'm just going to go, like, I didn't talk to my stranger yet for the day. So it's like, and it's kind of late, nowhere else is open. I'm just going to go to the bar, find some random people to talk to, make some friends and be good and check the box. And then after that, I like met this really interesting group of people. We had a great conversation. I was like, oh, like this actually can be fun sometimes. So I rewrote that belief. And now every time I've been invited back to that same environment, I haven't had that same immediate emotional reaction of like, oh, I don't like doing that. It's just because I didn't like doing that because I didn't have an experience to rewrite the belief. So understanding for the things that you want to do that there's some aversion or some resistance to doing, there's likely some underlying belief that is hidden from you until you think about it that is blocking you from doing those things. So I'm going to recap here. Those are the 5 takeaways: the importance of controlling your state, the power of daily non-negotiables, the power of visualization, the importance of staying present, and the value of understanding your underlying beliefs. I cannot speak more highly about my experience working with a coach. If you have questions for me that other things may be more specific to your situation, hit me up on Twitter. Sometimes a little slow to respond to my DMs, but I do generally respond. You can also leave a comment on this video below. Happy to answer any questions there. But I will say it's been an incredibly transformative experience, made me a much happier, much more productive, much more consistent, much more disciplined person. And it's been very, very valuable, both in the first 60 days and the long-term benefits of all of those changes are going to amount to such tremendous outcomes in my future that I'm so excited for. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, we have podcasts on this channel where we've interviewed 150 super successful people to learn about the interesting life lessons from their lives and their stories and their experience to apply to our own lives. And I'm active on Twitter where I talk about a bunch of similar topics. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that whatever you're doing, you end this video in a better state than when you started out with. Make sure to subscribe for more and have a fantastic rest of whatever the heck you are doing. I will see you later. Bye-bye.